Today, on This Week in Iowa, many Iowa farmers upset over President Trump favoring oil over ethanol. Then, what's the latest with Iowa's insurance division? Plus, a new Iowa poll shows Senator Warren in the lead, and this local city councilwoman being courted by presidential candidates. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us on This Week in Iowa. I'm Sabrina Ahmed. We start this morning with backlash against the Trump administration by Iowa leaders and Iowa farmers. Trump choosing oil over ethanol this month, and Iowans are not happy about it. Governor Reynolds and Ag Secretary Mike Naig sent a letter to the EPA Secretary asking him to reconsider his decision to grant waivers for 31 oil refineries. Those waivers mean the oil companies don't have to include ethanol in their mix. And here to talk about the impact of the Trump administration's decision are Maury Hill and Craig Hill. Not related, but they're both farmers in the corn and soybean industries. Both of you, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
To get started, can you please tell me your reaction to the Trump administration granting these 31 waivers? Craig, let's start with you.
Well, I know you're going to speak about insurance in a moment. It's a regulated industry, as is the petroleum fuel industry, the liquid fuels industry. And if you look at the 200 or 300 components that are in liquid fuels, ethanol is the very safest component in fuel for the soil, for the air, for the water. And so EPA has been charged with delivering clean air, of course. That's their mission. And ethanol is a key tool to do that. It lowers carbon emissions by 50%. It reduces the particulates that come out of the tailpipe by 50%. It's just a great product, and it's one that Iowa produces. We do it so well. So what EPA has done is they've ignored their mission, and they've denied consumers the opportunity for, over the last 3 years, about 4 billion gallons of ethanol production.
So, Maury, what's your response to the administration doing this? Are you upset?
Oh, yes. I think my fellow neighbors and farmers, we were just angry when we first heard about the waivers that were completed in the last 2 weeks. On top of what was granted a year ago, we just think that we were gut punched and that it seems like we're fighting uphill to try and sell our product. And like Craig says, it's a safe and great product, and it's renewable, and we need it with everything else that's going on in the farm community.
So tell me, Craig, how does this directly impact your farm?
Well, of course, Iowa's the #1 corn-producing state in the nation. We produce more corn than 27 countries in Europe. So we're a great corn producer. We do it very well, and half of our corn goes toward ethanol production. There's a lot of derivatives also that come from that. But it's very important for us. Economically, we also, as for production-wise, it's what we do best. So there's billions of dollars at stake here for the state of Iowa, thousands, tens of thousands of jobs at stake. We're seeing some ethanol facilities close or contemplate closure and reducing their production because of this.
Yeah, Poet, one of the largest oil refineries with ethanol in the country, is thinking about closing some of its production facilities, decreasing jobs of Iowans, and are just right here in Iowa.
Right, and on the soybean side with the biodiesel, you know, most of our soybeans is crushed to make soybean meal that we feed to our hogs and our chickens and other livestock. The leftover is that soy oil, and that is a great feedstock to make biodiesel. And that biodiesel puts more money in the farmers' pockets by adding value to our bushels, and it also gives us a lower price of diesel, whether we buy it off the truck for the farm or the truckers that use it going down the highways.
So what are you hearing from your circles, from your friends, your neighbors, but also from the people in the community with Iowa Farm Bureau and with the Soybean Association?
Well, folks are outraged. You know, they've had a difficult year. They fought bad weather. They fought, you know, the trade issues that we are all confronting. There's so many issues that have lowered the demand feature for the products in which we grow, and the prices have fallen precipitously. In fact, in the case of corn, we've lost about $1 a bushel in the last 30 or so days. It's been very, very difficult for farmers in meeting their obligations with the bank, and they're very concerned.
So what does the future hold?
Well, we hope.
That's not, yeah, there's not a lot of hope.
We hope everyone becomes so engaged that they contact the EPA, they contact the administration, and they inform them of do what's right. Do what Congress has intended with the RFS. Do what's the right thing for air quality, water quality, the soil, everything that ethanol provides as a service to consumers. we need to allow that to happen.
One glimmer is that our two freshman congresswomen, both Abby Finkenauer and Cindy Axne, are pressuring the administration through the Congressional Budget Office and through the IG to open up and look into the EPA as to why these waivers happened and to get them back in line and to, support the RFS and support American agriculture.
And we've heard Senator Grassley doing the same thing, as well as Iowa's Governor Kim Reynolds and Ag Secretary Mike Naig. But does that really do anything?
Oh, certainly. Senator Ernst as well. And I know those conversations are being, they're taking place right now. But we need a united pressure. We need everybody engaged in this because the oil industry is prevailing. Petroleum is having a greater and greater, outlook through EPA's eyes than our farmers or American agriculture.
So your message is to call your senator, call the EPA, call the Trump administration. Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for being here, both of you. We know how much you guys are dealing with right now.
Thank you,
Sabrina.
We'll take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back.
A perfect marriage takes a terrifying turn.
He barricaded me in the bathroom.
And ends in tragedy. Then,
I've been having migraines for 14 years.
Until a breakthrough procedure ended them for good.
Monday at 3 on Local 5.
Best part about football? The highlights. So Dish gives you NFL Red Zone, no extra charge. That's every touchdown from every game Sunday afternoons.
Right here, hang on.
Because we know if you miss that action, you miss all this action. And that would be an awful shame.
Dish with NFL Red Zone at no extra charge. Tuned in to you.
Hold on. You telling me Iowa State is the top pick in the Big 12? Seriously? They don't belong here, man. They still need to prove it.
To make one lucky grandparent very happy this Grandparents' Day. So we're offering a We Are Iowa Grandparents' Day giveaway $200 prize package. To enter, go to weareiowa.com/contest to fill out the online entry form. One lucky winner will receive a $100 gift certificate to Big Al's Barbecue, new location now open in Adele, plus a $100 bowling package from Warrior Lanes in Waukee. Strike up some fun with the family and have a happy Grandparents' Day from We Are Iowa.
From the capital city, you're watching This Week in Iowa with Sabrina Ahmed, getting to the heart of what's happening in Iowa politics.
Welcome back, everyone. We are joined now by Doug Omen, the Commissioner of the Iowa Insurance Division. Commissioner Omen, thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here.
So we have checked in with you periodically, and every time that we've talked to you, it's been about the rising cost of health care and the failing insurance market, and we just want to check in with you. Tell us how the atmosphere is right now. How's the marketplace doing? What do you feel, what are you hearing from people right now about insurance in Iowa in general?
Yeah. Well, we have a really good employment circumstance, so a lot of consumers are able to access coverage through their employer-based plans, which is really good for us as a state. Our individual market, though, is really in a place now where very few people that are in the ACA part of the market are able to pay the premiums themselves. It's heavily subsidized. So we're sort of in this new stability. But I think probably it's a stability that hopefully will give Congress some time, regardless of this election, to come to the table and get things worked out.
Well, Congress has not acted.
No.
So what are you hearing from the federal government? Do you believe that Congress still has this as a priority?
We have reached out and had regular communications with our Iowa delegation. We have spoken to both members of Congress as well as our senators, and they are always very open about trying to come to the table and have some agreement. But I think clearly the politics nationally continue to still be very polarized. I think ideology is sort of ruling the day, and unfortunately, when it comes to governing and setting up regulations, you have to have a practicality, and to date, I'm not seeing that.
So how many people in Iowa are uninsured, and how does that affect people like you and me who are insured and our premiums?
Yeah, our uninsured numbers have been relatively stable over the last several years. We're still right around 5%. I think, again, because of the fact that our economy is really good, most of the people that were affected in the collapse of the ACA market were able to find some coverage. But again, even in that circumstance, it's not good because of the fact that there are people out there that have just found the current rates to be unaffordable. So I guess I would, again, say this is the uneasy comfort of knowing the market has collapsed to a place where for the individual market, it's almost entirely subsidized by taxpayers.
Well, that's a scary place to be in, isn't it?
It is, yes. And it's not long term. The state, the governor has stepped forward, and the state has done a really good job of providing options or choices for people that were priced out. And that's good because that means people that were priced out are able to find some type of coverage. But again, long term, Congress is the only place this can be solved.
You've heard a lot of presidential candidates stumping on health care solutions. Many are saying Medicare for all is the solution, and I won't ask you what your thoughts are on Medicare for all unless you want to share them.
Yeah, I'll give you just some data that's really important for people to know. We have over 3 million people, right around 3 million in Iowa. 1.6 million of our population are in employer-based coverage. If you take the Medicare population and the Medicaid population, those individuals are on our government-sponsored plans. So those, even though there are problems in those areas, that's, again, a huge amount of our population. So I guess I would say for those that are proposing Medicare for all, I would be in the corner of Senator Grassley, who said, let's keep the things that are working and let's fix the things that are broken. I think to go down a step of Medicare for all, maybe that's something that some countries have looked at, but we have a large number of our people who have something that is working pretty well. I don't understand why we would try to change that.
Have you spoken to any presidential candidates about Medicare policy or healthcare policy at all?
No, I stay out of politics. Other than, I have my views about how I think economies work well when there's a free enterprise aspect. I think markets do distribute goods. I do view that regulatory systems are put in place to make sure people are treated fairly. But I guess I would just offer that we have been pretty clear about, from Iowa's perspective, that state flexibility would be a great help because we've had good working markets before. We have people here that are thoughtful and they compromise, something, again, that seems to be in short supply in Washington. So I would just suggest that, again, to any candidate coming to our state, I would ask them what they can offer to us in terms of flexibility so we can take care of the people here in Iowa.
So you said that our current situation is not something that we can deal with long term. How long can we sustain our current system?
Again, it depends, of course, on a lot of issues in terms of the economy, but I think at least for 2020 and 2021, I expect it'll be fairly stable.
Okay.
There is the need for action, though.
Right.
We still have transition plans. We have all these issues out there that frankly require a fix. And so I think we have a couple of years here where we can expect Congress to take action.
Well, Commissioner Ohman, we'll continue to check in with you, and we will hope that we see action.
All right.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Short break. We'll be right back.
How did you ever survive your childhood?
What are you weirdos mixed with?
What's mixed?
You don't have to worry about what those other kids think. They're idiots.
I want to be an idiot so bad.
Mixed Dish premieres September 24th on ABC.
There's plenty of work to finish this summer, and now's the time to upgrade your ride to get it done. That's why at Bob Brown Chevrolet, we have the Get Work Done deals for your life on four wheels. Take up to 25% off the 2019 Silverado 1500 Double Cab LT, and just announced, take up to $13,000 off in stock 2019 Silverado HD LTZ Crew Cabs while supplies last at Bob Brown Chevrolet in Urbandale or at BobBrownChevrolet.com.
I found out in September of 2018 that I have osteoporosis in my spine. As a nurse, I am aware of treatments for osteoporosis, which include medications with lots of side effects. I was excited to find OsteoStrong as an alternative to the drugs for osteoporosis, and in just a few minutes each week, building bone back and gaining energy has been wonderful.
Visit our website or call today to schedule your free session.
It would break your heart to see what we pull out of here every day. Hey, can you
You guys need some help?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
JJ Watt.
What's up, man?
How's it going?
Check it out, man.
What are you guys doing out here?
We're just doing the right thing. What's the dream? My dream is for people to think twice before they throw something out.
Great play, baby.
I appreciate you having me out. You can swing a mean net, man.
A perfect marriage takes a terrifying turn
He barricaded me in the bathroom.
and ends in tragedy. Then,
I've been having migraines for 14 years.
until a breakthrough procedure ended them for good.
Monday at 3 on Local 5. You're watching This Week in Iowa. Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Iowa.
Senator Elizabeth Warren is gaining momentum in Iowa. Her large staff and long trips are paying off, according to a new Iowa Starting Line Change Research poll. She now leads Iowa caucus goers with 28% of the vote. Joe Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders have 17% apiece. Welcome back, everyone. So joining us to talk about that poll and what it means to Iowa is Iowa Starting Line founder, Pat Reinard. Pat, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Always happy to come by.
Okay, so your poll is making some big headlines.
Yeah, it bounced all over the place. That was a lot of traffic for our website.
Joe Biden is not at the top of the presidential hopefuls here in Iowa anymore.
Correct, at least from our
According
poll
to your poll.
anyway.
Right.
And there hasn't been any other Iowa polls for a while, so I guess we'll go with this. But yeah, Elizabeth Warren opened up an 11-point lead in the poll that we had out with Change Research here in Iowa, with both Biden and Sanders tied for second with 17% each, which is, you know, a bit of a shakeup. Now, this is one of those things where what we're seeing on the ground, I think, kind of matches up with what I'm seeing, at least in this poll. Perhaps not this huge a lead for Warren, because 11 points is quite a bit in this large a field.
Right.
But, you know, if you've been paying attention out there, Warren's been getting really large crowds. She's had a huge staff, and not just a huge staff, but a large staff that was here built up about
For a long
five.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
five. I mean, they had like a 5-month head start on some of these other campaigns, and that makes a difference.
And to be honest, I thought, gosh, how is she going to sustain that large of a staff?
sure.
And she is.
Right. Yeah, no, their small dollar fundraising did well. You know, over the spring and into summer, she kind of almost became a meme with, you know, the candidate with a plan.
Right.
And people really enjoyed that. And, you know, one of the things that's most interesting to me when I go out to Warren events, it's not just like the progressive base. It's not just the county party insiders. It's a lot of everybody. Like, she, more than any other candidate I feel in the field, is a coalition candidate who's bringing in people from all segments of the party to support her.
I had a really interesting opportunity. You were there the whole time at the Iowa State Fair to see what happens behind the soapbox, and you got to see all of the candidates' followers, or lack thereof, behind the soapbox, and who was really gaining traction with supporters. Elizabeth Warren had a mosh pit.
Yeah, she had one of the largest, if not the largest, crowd out there that is, you know, spanned as far as you can see, and that's which I always think is fascinating at the state fair, because this is a lot of people who are just kind of looking it up on their own. It's hard for the campaigns to drive turnouts of these kind of things, but yeah, there's a lot of interest for her.
So, what does the future look like for Joe Biden, for Bernie Sanders, and for Elizabeth Warren, as well as some of the other candidates? So, because Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg are still in that top.
Yeah, we had Buttigieg at 13 points, Kamala Harris at 8. So, you know, it's still very much a wide open field. I mean, we're over 5 months out from actual caucus night, and there's a lot that can still move around. We've seen in past years where someone who was at, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% during the summer end up winning the whole thing, and with a field this, you know, split, that could happen. I do think, though, you know, most of these, and then like Cory Booker and maybe Beto O'Rourke and maybe 1 or 2 others, are probably going to be at this point the ones in contention, because we're getting to the point, if you don't have a large field staff built up at this point, and if you don't have a lot of momentum, it's kind of hard to catch up at that point.
Absolutely, Pat. Thank you so much, and thank you for your reporting and everything you do every day. I know you're a busy man. Short break, everyone, and we'll be right back.
Americans are sick and tired. Sick of skyrocketing prescription drug prices. Tired of drug companies charging us twice as much for medicines as people in other countries. Thankfully, Senator Grassley is standing up to the big drug companies and putting America's patients first. He's leading the fight in Congress to stop drug company price gouging. Americans are getting ripped off. Call Senator Grassley. Tell him you support his work to lower drug prices.
The storm woke you up.
Most electrically charged storm systems we have seen.
And the first thing you grabbed was your phone. Local 5 was ready. On the phones first, fast and accurate.
This is Complete Recovery Aurora.
Reporting all the latest straight to the Local 5 News Facebook page.
I'm live in Lacona right now.
Helping you make the best decision no matter how you prefer to be alerted. The other guys say they're the leaders. At Local 5, we prove it. See the difference. Download the We Are Iowa app today for meaningful local news and weather from Local 5.
Shelley claims her husband is a self-obsessed, womanizing playboy.
It's a he said. Shelley plays the victim in our marriage.
You're supposed to be in the other side of the house.
She said.
David calls me fat, lazy, psycho, nuts.
She is a liar. She's unemployed. She's lazy.
You're lying about everything that you're doing to me.
Can this marriage be saved?
Somebody is not telling the truth here.
All new Dr. Phil.
Monday at 4 on Local 5.
These sponsors are proud to bring you March of Champions. The road to greatness isn't paved. Those who earn it work for every step on their march to victory. Thursday, Local 5's Friday Night Blitz celebrates 20 years of champions.
They were just a dominant football team.
Coaches, athletes, and fans.
We weren't afraid to take chances.
20 years of your stories on and off the field.
Together our dreams came true.
Watch a special Local 5 sports production, March of Champions, Thursday at 6:30. You're watching This Week in Iowa, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Iowa.
Welcome back, everyone. We are joined now by Renee Hardman, who is a West Des Moines City Councilwoman. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we're here to talk today about your relationship with presidential candidates because they are calling you off the hook.
Yes, they are. I am getting lots of calls and texts and opportunities to have face-to-face meetings, and I love it because it's a way to get to know the presidential hopefuls and what they stand for and what they're going to do. So I'm really engaged in that process, and they're engaging me in the process.
Why have they chosen you to be the city councilwoman who they're calling?
Yeah, and they might be calling others, Sabrina, but I really do think that candidates are realizing that local officials have their pulse on folks that are average, everyday folks, citizens. We have our pulse on what folks enjoy and what they like and what's important. We talk to people at the grocery stores, after city council meetings, before city council meetings. So we have our pulse really on the people that are going to be out there caucusing every day, the people that are going to be out there letting their voice be heard about what they like and they don't like.
Absolutely.
So they're trying to align themselves with candidates that have some knowledge about what's needed in these communities.
How many candidates have you spoken to?
I've had personal sit-down meetings with 4 candidates, and I have one that is trying to get a schedule to when they're in town again to have another meeting.
So potentially 5 presidential candidates in a very large field, though.
Right. Yeah, sit-down conversations. I just yesterday had a private meeting with Mayor Pete, and we talked for 45 minutes about what's important and some issues. And 2 weeks before that, Senator Kamala was on her bus, and we were talking. So it really has been a great opportunity to really get to know this this candidate field, which is pretty crowded right now.
So what are you telling them are the biggest issues to people, not only in West Des Moines, your community, but the state of Iowa?
Yeah. Well, I'm really saying, as an umbrella, that people are looking for a candidate that's going to unify this country and who's going to be a force that allows people to work across the aisles, not divisive, but is a unifier. And I think that's what we need. We do need all the other issues like the health care and the economy and all of those kinds of things that are important to all of us. But right now we need someone who can unify people around all kind of complex issues and work toward a common goal.
Right, if you don't have someone who can get the job done, then their stance on an issue probably doesn't matter a whole lot.
Absolutely. They've got to be able to talk to all kind of folks.
And are they receptive to that?
They are. They listen, they take notes, and they're eager to engage and eager to hear what's on your heart and your mind and what are your constituents saying. And they ask good questions. I love it.
So the presidential race is, of course, huge. But has this happened in other races for you? Have congressional candidates called you? Have you spoken to Senate candidates?
Yeah, I have. When Cindy Acne ran, I was called for her and other candidates locally as well. So they do really look to align someone who is a community leader, who has won an election, who has an opportunity to share what others are thinking.
Do you think that's because you chosen because you're a minority, because you're a woman, because you're in Iowa?
Okay, I think all three. I think all three are an asset, to be a woman and to be a minority and to be in Iowa, to be in West Des Moines where progress is made in a lot of areas. I think that's a combination of a winning strategy to understand what's at stake and how they can learn.
Is anyone in particular catching your eye so far?
There are a number of candidates right now. I haven't endorsed. I will later, but I am listening and I'm learning and I'm watching and trying to understand not what they're doing right now, but what they've done in the past.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Short break. We'll be right back.
How do you win over fans? You give them something they love, something no one else can, something they can't get enough of. And then you give them more. Hurry in for an additional $500 bonus cash on Ram 1500 during the Ram Labor Day sales event.
Or get 20% off MSRP on select 2019 Ram 1500 Classic models in dealer stock.
At 28, I'd struggled with opiate and meth addiction for 12 years. I lost everything, and I still thought I was in control. I did and said things that the sober me never would have done. And one day I realized I was not invincible. I was not exempt. And that's when a friend told me about Elite Rehab Placement. They found me a program that fit my needs. It was a small enough program that I could get that one-on-one attention. And they gave me the tools I needed to get sober and stay sober. And now I work for a rehab specialist. I'm the guy on the other end of the phone helping people who are just like me. And it's an honor to be able to give that gift back. And all it took was the one phone call.
This station strives to provide quality children's programming in accordance with the requirements set by the Federal Communications Commission and by the Children's Television Act of 1990. WOI prepares a quarterly report which details our commitment to children's television. We invite the public to inspect these reports and comment on our efforts to provide for the educational and informational needs of the children in our community. These reports are available for public inspection at weareiowa.com.
Thank you so much for joining us here on This Week in Iowa. A special thank you to all of our guests who traveled near and far. We'll see you again next Sunday.